everyone, it's Gina from orchidandopal.com, and today I'm back with another finished jewelry update where I will share with you some pieces that I've made recently, especially from some of the February bead boxes that I've shared with you and unboxed here on my channel. First, I want to say thank you so much for 80,000 subscribers. You guys blow me away, and it's so hard to believe that milestone, especially saying that out loud. So I sincerely appreciate every single one of you because you all truly do keep me going and keep me inspired and extra motivated, even through some of life's little bumps in the road. I'll share a little tidbit about that at the end of the video if you're interested. But for now, for this video, I really wanted to just come back and show you some of the pieces that I've whipped up recently, especially before any more time passed because I can't believe it's March 1st. This isn't the biggest finished jewelry update, but rather on the smaller side of what I usually share in these videos. However, I still hope that you find these pieces inspiring, maybe provide you with a new way of looking at things and getting you excited to pull out your own bead box contents or items from your stash to create something new. So like I've been trying to do lately, I've been trying to work more with the different boxes as opposed to just one and spread things around a little bit. And the first piece I have here is this necklace, which comes from the contents of February's Sam's bead box. Now, all these bead boxes I'm mentioning, you can find the unboxing videos if you go a little bit further back on my channel. And I'll also leave links to these specific businesses right down below the video and any relevant coupon codes that I have to go along with them. So for Sam's box, the theme was called Purple Majesty, I believe. So obviously it was full of a lot of different purple beads, especially checked glass as usual. And then we also got some other gemstone items and these lovely lavender pearls. Sam's bead box is awesome for bead stringing for sure because you get so many unique shapes of checked glass and other items that stand up well on their own. But you also sometimes get items that work really well for bead weaving too, and that's something that I really happen to enjoy. So a lot of times when you see these things, you'll see some bead weaving components added in somewhere along with the stringing. And that's what I have here with this pendant, which I made using the peanut beads in that transparent amethyst color with the silver lining. That's what is framing this pearl. And also some of the 4mm fire polish beads that are going around that layer. Of course, this gorgeous check pear-shaped brio came in that box as well, and I thought that looked really beautiful at the bottom of that bead woven component that I put together. The only thing I pulled from my stash for that were these silver colored 11-0 round seed beads. And there's a look at the side of the piece and a look at the back if you're curious. And just a really simple, good old herringbone stitch bail to attach that to the strung portion of the necklace. So here are the pearls, which I knew right away I wanted to work with these. They have the pearl composite material making up the coating and have a great realistic weight to them, along with that beautiful light purple color. And in order to bring in a little bit of the tones that you see in the pendant, I brought in some of those rosette, or I think they refer to them as the crown beads from the subscription. And these small 4mm check glass bicones are something I had from my stash, actually from Beadbox Bargains, and those pulled in some of the purple with the more bluish undertone. Again, I felt like making the pendant more cohesive with the actual necklace itself. And then used some silver seed beads that I used in the pendant to space out some of those too. So here is the total necklace, and now you can see the back. I added that little floral glass bead to the extender chain because I thought it was a really sweet detail, and that's something that came from a previous Beads of the Month Hot and Trendy club. If you're newer here, don't worry if I'm referencing a whole bunch of different boxes. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by that, but my point is just to share with you that in some of these creations, beads can be pulled from all different places. And even though most everything came from Sam's bead box last month, it was nice to have some other things in my stash to really complete the piece the way I wanted to. The other reason why I mention all the different boxes is also to really drive home why I like getting these subscriptions every month and continuing to share them with you all too. And that's because when you get items that you didn't pick out on your own and are often a complete surprise to you until you open everything up, In my experience, that's one of the best ways to get outside your comfort zone when it comes to experimenting and creating. And I can't tell you how many times over the years I've opened up something and thought, initially it's something I would never use or wasn't that excited to use it. But then once I actually started playing around with it, my horizons were expanded and sometimes you can get some pretty great and surprising results. So I hope you have fun with your boxes. Don't be afraid to play around with new things. Don't be afraid to make mistakes because we all do. And it's one of my favorite things about beads. You can always take something apart and reuse them. And in most cases, they're good as new. And you can use them to try and try again. Next up is a bracelet made from the contents of the recent Beads to Live By seed bead subscription and their 2-hole bead subscription with the Silky beads. And if this one looks familiar, it's because it is the same version of the pinkish purple one that I showed you recently, made from the January contents, but this one is done in the palette from February. So this is another new design I had fun playing around with and coming up with that I'm sure I'll be sharing soon in an upcoming tutorial. I did also pull some 4mm fire polish beads from my stash for this one, but otherwise, those contents are unique to that subscription. And you can see I used 2 different colors of size 11-0 seed beads along with these silkies. When I'm getting ready for a tutorial or coming up with a new design, I really like to make them multiple times over or in different colors because I like to try my best to come up with the best possible way to teach the design in the most straightforward way. And in most cases, I can't just come up with that in one single shot. So here is version 2. I'm sure there will be a couple more made too before the tutorial comes out for this. And that also gives you some other examples of the design used with different colors, which I think is always fun because color can really have an effect on changing the look of an overall design. Up next, here's my design from the February bargain bead box. And this is from a tutorial I actually shared recently, so if you're interested in making one of these, definitely check out that video. It's called the Violet Glade Bracelet after the name of the theme of the bargain bead box, which came with a lot of purples and a little bit of green. So this is a bracelet you can make using any elongated bead that is similar in size to the ones that you see here. And that is for those main larger diamond shapes and also those green crystals that you see going across the center. And in addition to that, I used some of those little tiny 1.5 by 2mm crystal rondelle beads. And these are in the jet iris. So you get that vibrant color shift between the purples and the greens on top of the black. And I really like how those crystal rondelles in the extremely small size are able to come together in right angle weave and create their own sparkly little diamond components. I think they would also be a great addition to a pair of earrings or something to coordinate, even if you just wanted to play around with those diamond components. And then next are the Dancing Diamonds bracelets. This design came from the February Potomac Beads Treasure Edition of their subscription box, and that is in the pink colorway that you see right here and also what was used in the tutorial. So if you want to make one of these, definitely check out that video too. And even if you didn't get that subscription box, this one uses a lot of pretty common beading materials that you may already have or have things that would work really well as substitutes in your stash. So with this one, we started out with the base layer that looks like this on the back, mainly using the 4mm pearls and 6mm fire polish. You see some of those 3mm crystal rondelles there as well. And then we came back and layered it up and made some of these additional diamond shaped components in between the fire polish section. So it's got a lot of dimension to it. And it's also not too terribly complicated if you are looking for more of a moderately simple bead weaving design to try out. Here's a look at the blue one. Again, I just pulled things I had from my stash to put this one together, including one of these cup buttons. So that's just another way you can use that and turn it into a clasp component, just making a loop of beads in order for the button to fit in there. And also on the back of this one, I just wanted to show you that I didn't have enough pearls in the particular color that I wanted to use. So here's another way you can substitute. I just pulled out some of those round druck beads in a similar color and use those as a substitute for the beads at the base. This next new bracelet design actually comes from the latest Eureka Crystal Beads collection called Sweet Romance that they came out with last month. And I'm always drawn into the sparkle when it comes to cup chain, even though it can be a pain and a challenge to work with sometimes. It's also fun when it comes together just right. And through some trial and error, this bracelet actually worked out great. I love how it fits and how securely the cup chain is intertwined with the beads, and also has so much flexibility, no strange shape issues or anything. Even though the cup chain has the ability to shift around a little bit, it stays put in this design really well, so I'm hoping to put together a tutorial for this in the future. And looking at it up close, you can see that I used the cup chain, of course, in the center as the main channel of the bracelet, with some of the 2x3mm crystal rondelles and size 11/0 seed beads. And then if you look at the back, this is how I formed the base using some of those regular sized square-shaped Tila beads and also some size 11/0 round seed beads added in. So the first step in making this, I made the actual base itself without the cup chain or anything on top. And then section by section, I added the cup chain to the base in a really methodical way so it had enough flexibility, but was also strongly and securely tacked down and had the addition of beads around the cup chain to really set it off and complete the piece. This one's finished off with just a simple toggle clasp, one of the many ways you can finish off a beaded bracelet like this. And in addition to these bracelets, I have one more necklace to show you from the contents of the January and February Beading School Academy bi-monthly subscription with the theme La Dolce Vita. So this is a brand new design I came up with based on those contents with a stunning color palette, including a lot of different tones of peach and mint green, but also some of these light blue table cut 2-hole tiles, which I couldn't wait to work with, and then some of the ginkgos and the apricot with that luster finish. And as is often the case with me when it comes to Beading School Academy, I find that I make a lot of components with their box contents. I think due to the nature of what they send, we often get these preciosa crystals, sometimes in flatbacks or sew-on crystals or different stones, which are often bezeled or used in the center of a design. So this one is one that came together just like that, where I started out by making one of those square components, and again through trial and error, just really putting that together in a way where I was pleased with the outcome. And then with the components, you can of course put them together in all sorts of different ways. So this is just one way you can put those square beaded components together after you've made several of them. And in this example, you can see that I added some of those blue tile beads along with some additional seed beads to pull those together. Had this one here positioned so that it would be the bottom of this peak here for the necklace, attaching two to either side just like that. And then if you're curious, here's what the back of these components look like. So even if you don't connect them in this way, you could even use the strips of herringbone as locations to string these onto something or to attach them to a piece like a bail. With your stringing material, just passing underneath one of those strips. In the center, of course, we have these sparkly sew-on crystals that they included. There were 4 of them total in the subscription box this time around. Some of my new favorite seed beads, which are the Miyuki galvanized Duracoat matte variety. So these are in silver, but they actually have a sort of yellowish undertone, which gives them a light tan appearance overall. But their color and finish just feel so intact, and I love that, especially about these little tiny 15-0 seed beads. And just can't beat the quality. And then going up the necklace, I just had some fun bringing in a few more of those tiles. I think I used pretty much all that came in the subscription package, just adding in 3 additional ones there on either side, and making that sort of little crisscross chain, bringing in some more of the small 3mm Preciosa bicones. Changing up the chain a little bit there as we go a little bit further up the necklace, and then another change there where you don't see the bicones in between, but just that netted rope look. So here's this necklace in full, and as usual, if there's something that you'd like to see a tutorial for, let me know down in the comments. I wish I had unlimited time and I would create all the tutorials in the world that I possibly could, but I am doing the best I can right now, and appreciate your understanding on that. The other thing is sometimes it's a challenge with some of these pieces because I've used all the contents that came in a box, and if I don't have more of the items I need to work with in order to come up with a tutorial, I don't always want to take the piece apart that I put together originally, and I'm sure you can understand that. So in the meantime, I'm going to try to work on getting some more of these materials. Of course, we know where we can find them because Beading School has an awesome online store as well in addition to their subscription. And as long as things are still in stock, you can always go back there and pick up more of what you received. So that's everything I have to share with you this time around. I know I don't get too personal here, even though there's 80,000 of us here. I mean, we're all friends, right? But I just wanted to share, especially for those who have been around a long time. I may not have seemed as on top of things lately. I've just been dealing with some pretty gnarly fatigue, which back around November, I thought it was just because I needed a little bit of a break. Because I've been pushing really hard ever since I started this channel, but it's something I truly do enjoy. And even though I push myself hard, I don't feel like I'm pushing myself to the point of exhaustion or anything like that. And I kept thinking that it would go away, and I just needed a little bit of a break, maybe even more mentally than physically, because really we all need to do that. But as some weeks went by, it just kept persisting. That it's just due to a new medication I've been on, and there's been an adjustment period for that, and also, once realizing that, finding a better way to manage that symptom of fatigue and nail down some other things that were best for me health-wise. So I assure you everything is fine, actually more than fine now, but my commitment to Orchid and Opal has not changed. I still love sharing the boxes and new designs, especially with you all, and just know that I'm doing the best I can every single day. I know I didn't have to share that, but I just want to thank you all so much for your continued support, and I'm sure so many of you can understand what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to mention that, especially if any of you all are going through something big or small that may make your day-to-day life just a little bit different or a little bit more challenging. Just try to prioritize your health, because at the end of the day, that's what's really important. So enough about that, pivoting back to the jewelry, of course. Thank you for being here and watching this video. You'll have to let me know down in the comments if you have a favorite piece here that you saw today, maybe if you've made something from a recent tutorial or anything else you'd like to say. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I'd love to have you back, and that way you'll be notified of upcoming tutorials and more beading fun, and also make sure to give the video a big thumbs up. As a reminder, I'll leave the links below for some of these boxes that I mentioned today. That way you can go and check out their various websites and sign up to some of those if you'd like to. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you all again real soon. Let's all continue to take it one day at a time and find enjoyment in some of the smaller things like these beautiful beads. So until next time, I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day. And as always, happy beading.